This is Wrecking Ball, and today we're working on a new project bike. Today I have the Vn2000 from Kawasaki. We just have some small upgrades to do today, which is going to include exhaust and performance tuner. So let's take a quick look at the bike before I start, and I'm going to unbox the exhaust and the tuner and show you what steps you got to take to get things rolling. So here we are. This is the bike. Sorry for the crappy video footage. My other phone died, so I'm using a new one, and the webcam won't work on my computer. So as you see, this really isn't the best footage at all, but Kawasaki Vulcan, let's see if I can get in there. 2000 cc's. Nothing's been done except for changing the back pegs, removing the sissy bar, and removing all the little hazard flasher lights and all the other crap. I changed the horn. Let's just turn that light away. I put a louder horn, and as you see here, I've already started to disconnect some of the wiring to the fuel tank, because that's the next step, to get the plugs and take a look at the wiring underneath to run the performance tuner. So let's see the box of goodies we have going on the bike. Freedom Performance, exhaust, and also, let me just get this out of here. DynoJet Power Commander 3 for the 2004-2006 Vn2000. So I'm going to do an unboxing video for each of these, and then I'll include that in this video as well. Well, let her begin. And the other few things that will be going on to the bike: spark plugs, oil, thermostat, and O-ring. That's also to be changed, and that's all located on this side. Under here, once you get the gas tank off, I believe you'll have access. So let's get to it. So we're going to start with how to get the battery open, even though I'm missing the parts for it. Well, pretty common sense. First things first, you have on this side, which is your key guard cover, which I do have close by because I took that off before. The key cover pops off. From there, you have your little steel wire, which activates here, which pulls off your back seat. Once your back seat is out, you have a screw. Where's that screw hole? This one has a screw. It's around here. Front seat comes on. Move your front seat. Next step would be remove your battery cover. It's a big piece of plastic that goes here. From there, disconnect your negative. Safety first. From that point on, now you're going into the unknown, as I call it. You have a plastic cover that sits on this side where all your fuses are. You want to yank that sucker off and then move ahead to here. Here you have a single bolt, which I did leave in the connector because I'm a good boy and I don't want to lose things. You may see it right there. Once you remove that bolt, you have access to your fuel system. Fuel pump, other wires, and other stuff. You see here I just disconnected that push lock plug, which is why it looks like it's covered in fuel. To disconnect the two little bolts that hold this system on, it's an M10. That's right, Japanese is metric. From there, I would disconnect your front spark plug wire just to be able to pull this sucker out of the way. And where we are right now on this removal is this back vent. These things are usually pains in the ass, so be very gentle. You don't want to break it because it looks like it's a pain in the ass to change the whole thing, because it goes all the way down behind more plastic and other bullshit. So let me get this tank off. Oh, and sorry, before I forget, there's a bolt that's there. That's an M12. So let me get this off and I'll show you what it looks like underneath. This is just a quick tip. The best way to get that sucker off of there, be very gentle, because you don't want to ruin your paint. I haven't seen much videos on these bikes, so that's why I'm doing this. Where's those pliers? Get a good pair of long nose, but make sure they're bent. Put the tip around the hose and then pry off the bottom of the flange there. See there where the weld is? pry gently off of that, and this hose will just pop off. So now everything seems to be disconnected underneath here. I don't have any other hoses that I can see as of right now. I'm going to gently lift and remove this tank and place it onto my workbench after I move more crap. Give me a second, and let's get that tank off. Well, aren't we in a predicament? I believed that, I just want to show you, let's get some light on this. For me to change that spark plug, I thought I read in the book I had to pull off the gas tank. And the front one would be much easier to get to. But the predicament is, I don't know if you'd hear, let me get a piece of metal maybe. I have no access to get to that spark plug through the gas tank. So this was a complete waste of time. On the other note, in case you were wondering, like I was, how to fill up your radiator, you got to pull the gas tank off anyways, because there is your fill hose and thermostat, which goes to your radiator right there. So at least we learned something new today. Besides that, I think I just spent about an hour figuring out how to pull off a gas tank for no apparent reason. But now, through my mistake, you have all learned what to not do. So let's get those plugs out and, well, I guess continue going on what we're doing now. So we took out the first plug. It's not that bad. Let me see if I can get better zoom in on it or something like that. No, that just takes a picture. So it's not that bad, but since I'm going to be changing exhaust and putting a performance tuner on it, might as well change both. It is a bit of a pain in the ass to get to. Is there autofocus? Yeah, there's no focus. But besides that, let's see where I could try to get you to see the point. There? Yeah, no. Anyways, so I'm going to change these all out, make sure the gap's good, and put them in, put the tank back on after I change the thermostat. Thermostat's pretty basic. I'm not going to go over that just because you have 2, 3, 4 bolts. You take that off, you drain it, and yeah, that's easy stuff there. Fuck it, I'll show you anyways. So let me get the plugs in, and we'll go step by step, and oil will be the last thing we change just because that's always at the end once the bike is run for a little bit. So the whole reason was that back spark plug's a real shit to get to because, as you see, there's no clearance for your hands. One way in, one way out, basic type of scenario. So maybe there's a better technique that someone out there knows, but when I get my fat hands in there, I can't really do any work. So that back one probably took me about half an hour compared to the front where you got loads of room. That's new one sitting in there right now. So that one's a little bit worse off compared to the front. It's a little bit darker. I guess the fuel was too rich. Hopefully the tuner will help adjust that. But it's 2004, the bike, so I'm pretty sure these haven't been changed since then. And the bike still is performing as hell. So maybe with the new plugs and the exhaust, I'll get some horses out of her. Once I get those in, I'm going to torque them down. I believe it's 18 pounds. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to have to double check and write in the description once I check the book. And then I'm going to change that there before I keep moving forward. Okay, so we have the new plugs in. I've got to take that off before I forget. New plugs are in. Let me just try to get my fat fingers back in there. And there we are. So, step 1 is done. Now let's go over to the other side. For the coolant system, I might as well do this as well. I took off the chrome cover, which it had on. Oops, let's not block that. So here is your thermostat cooling line. Very well placed, if you ask me. And I want you to see something here. See this? This is an 8mm key, which you're going to need. So if you don't have one, you're going to need it. And I'll show you location of the drain plug. So as you can tell, we're at the front of the bike. Let me just Get down here. And you see that right there? It's already starting to drip a little. Right there. That little tiny bastard. That is an 8mm. That's your drain. So you got to loosen that. And then I'm going to put a pan under there. Open up the radiator on the top. Let it all drain out. Change the thermostat. The O-ring, I'll show you that as well. Put it back on. Fill her back up. We can't run her at this point just because there's nothing attached to it. But I hope my pan fits. So I know I'm a horrible shower. Alright, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts on the front, and then you got one on the side here for the metal bracket. They all have Loctite. It's a red Loctite. Don't worry too much. It's a Phillips screwdriver. Came off pretty easy. This is the new one. And you have the new O-ring here. Make sure that goes in smooth. Keep some of the coolant. Rub it around there. Make it nice and smooth. That's pretty much it for that. It's not complicated. It's basically you do with your eyes closed. Keep the drain open. Let out whatever coolant there is. There's really not that much. I might have been a bit low, but who the fuck cares? So let me close this back up, reinstall it, add the coolant, and move on to step whatever number we're at. All right.